thoughts in your mind, for you and for I. I'm trying to decide when I look in your eyes, I mean besides, but your feelings inside you.
We are back in action inside the RV. This is episode 27. You're here with your two lovely hosts. Welcome to Inside the RV, everybody. This is a podcast about entrepreneurship, self-development, work ethic, and becoming the best version of yourself. You're joined by your two bearded, lovely, modest, oh so gracious,
mildly handsome.
Mildly handsome. We're honest, okay? We're honest people. And freshly both have buzzed hair hosts. We both got buzz hair now. He copied me first, though. I'll say it.
I did.
You're joined by your two hosts, Jacob Moore, which is me.
And Ryan Ramirez, which is I, also known as Double R.
Double R, Ryan Ramirez, the man, and Jacob Moore. Together, we are your two hosts, and we are an artist and artist manager duo on our way to success in the music industry. Let's jump right in. Guys, it's really important to systematize things. What I mean by systematize something is to create a system out of it. Create some sort of routine, some people might call it, or some sort of plan. You always hear about people's morning routines. What they've done simply is created a system that they follow when they wake up in the morning. If you want to be uber productive, if you want to be super, super good at maximizing your time and getting things done efficiently and effectively, it's very important to systematize things. Let me give you one example today. Okay, Ryan and I, over the last 3 weeks, have gotten a lot better at content creation on social media.
Yeah.
For anyone who actually does social media content creation, you know sometimes it can be pretty tricky. It's not just taking some bullshit photo and posting it and whatever. There's
a lot of factors.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables and factors in it. So up until the last 3 weeks, Ryan and I sucked. Like we sucked. Like I would probably say like we sucked at social media. We're definitely getting way better. One thing that has helped us is we now systematize our social media content creation. So we told ourselves every Saturday we're going to meet up and shoot content for the week. And today's Saturday. Today is January, I believe, 22nd.
23rd, I think.
23rd. We met up today and we shot content for the entire next week until we meet up Saturday. So what we did was we systematized our content creation process. We scheduled to meet up at 9 a.m. We shoot X amount of TikToks, X amount of Instagrams, X amount of YouTube, and we repurpose it in these ways, whatever. So we have a plan. We've created a system. Do you know how much load that took off my shoulders and I'm sure Ryan's shoulders? Sure, we're dedicating an entire day, but let me tell you something about systematizing things and knowing every single step of what you're going to do. When you're able to do that, number one, you automatically work more quickly because you have a plan. Instead of going around and every time you do something like, for example, social media content creation, when you don't systematize it, it's sporadic, which means that you don't have even a guideline or a roadmap to direct you in the first place. You're already setting yourself up, not necessarily for failure, but you're setting yourself up to use a lot of time. Okay, so take it from our experience, we have systematized our social media content creation. Ryan has systematized things like his artwork creation and all these different things, and it will save you time and help you perform better. And here's the other thing. When you systematize things, like one thing, right? So us systematizing social media content creation, that's just one thing. It's just content for social media. There's other things in our lives. Like I have a morning routine. Ryan's got his morning routine. Ryan has systems for how he works with sticks when they're working on choreography. He created systems, and most business people that you'll talk to, when you create a system, here's where things get awesome. You can then scale from a system, okay? I read a great book in college called Nail It, Then Scale It. And basically what you do when you're starting a business is you create a system or you create some sort of thing that is replicable that you can continue to do. And once you have that dialed in, you can then scale it. And it's oh so true. And I'll tell you from experience that scaling something is going to be 1,000,000 times harder if you don't have a system that you can follow. So now that me and Ryan have this social media content creation systemization, we're able to sit down, use our time wisely, maximize the amount of time that we have, and be more efficient in our workflow. And it's easier for us through that system to scale the amount of actual content creation because we have a roadmap.
And here's 3 more benefits of doing that.
Go ahead.
Number 1, it instills confidence knowing that you're putting out content and you're putting action towards things. I mean, just in general, as far as strategizing, like you're creating confidence in yourself, knowing like you're moving forward. 2, it instills momentum, just to get you off the ground and going, and the system just keeps that going. And 3, it creates certainty in results and progress. And to me, you can't really track your progress in a clear way unless you systematize things and have a routine for it. Otherwise, you're kind of just like flying in the wind and seeing what happens and guessing that you're doing a great job, but you don't really know like technically like how good you're doing compared to someone else or whatever it is in your industry, because you don't have a routine and a system to be able to analyze that. You need in a logical way something that tells you your progress in like analytical ways or like in a statistical way, instead of just flying with the wind, like I said, and just like hoping that you're doing a good job,
Wow, dude, that is such a good point.
Yeah.
That is such a good point, that you do need a method to be able to gauge your progress. So if Ryan and I just shot social media content on the fly, it would be much harder to gauge whether we're posting the amount of times per week that is maximizing the amount of engagement we can get on social media. But so if he just hits me up every other day or here and there, I text, hey, I have an idea for a photo, whatever. First off, what Ryan said is totally true. And second off, you're going to use more resources. I already said it a minute ago. Imagine if Ryan and I are doing the social media content creation, and every time we need to come up with something, he's sitting there and he has to call me and I have to come over with my camera and shoot something, or he needs a video filmed or whatever. It just uses so many resources, dude. It's a waste of time. So we can knock all of that out in one Saturday morning / afternoon. We have all of the resources right in front of us, and the time is dedicated to producing some sort of result from this system.
And we've learned that life happens a lot. So
Yeah.
you can't, like, you can think, I'm going to get up every day and be consistent in posting, for example, right? Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday or whatever it is. But then life happens. Let's say something happens on Wednesday and it messes up your whole day, and now you're scrambling, and then you're trying to figure out the best piece of content and you can't figure it out. And it's like, damn. But if you meet up on one day and knock it all out, no matter what happens throughout the week, you're going to have that piece of content. All you have to do is push post.
Here's another thing about scheduling like a block.
And we're just using content as like the example because that's what we're doing right now. So.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing about when you systematize something in terms of how you structure it with your time. When you just put something into a block and you get it all done within that time frame, it gives you some sort of like basis to schedule other things around. So it makes scheduling other things easier, because if you're just shooting social media content here and there, whatever it is, oh, Ryan calls me on this day, I have an idea, what should the caption be, whatever, then it's hard to schedule things around that. Because what if I want to go hang out with my friends?
Yeah.
What if I want to go to the mountains or something and I get a call and Ryan's like, dude, I have that single dropping, we forgot to do this because life happened, whatever.
We're scrambling.
And exactly, and now we're scrambling to get our shit together, when in reality, I could just be like, oh, I know I can hang out with my friends at 5 on Saturday because from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. I do all of my content creation, and it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. Now, here's something specifically in terms of content creation for social media. I've realized that it does need to be methodical. Your content needs to have some method behind it in terms of you want to be serving your audience. You have to give them things that they like. And it's much easier to be able to really think about how you're going to connect with your market or with your audience when you have the time to sit down and you're focused on that one thing. I think a lot of people forget that when you're creating content, those likes are individual people that look at your post one person at a time. You're trying to serve a literal human being.
Yeah.
The phone screen kind of takes away the human aspect of it, but you can get so caught up in the likes and the algorithm and all this stuff that you forget to sit down and go, okay, how could we create dope content that people will love? Ryan and I did that all day today. And we succeeded in doing that because we had the time, we set that block aside, and we said, what is our audience going to love? I came with ideas, Ryan came with ideas, and we handled it. And that took so much weight off my shoulders and so much stress off my shoulders and Ryan's shoulders. And I'm telling you guys, when you systematize things, you can scale it. It makes things easier. It makes you work more efficiently. And I think that overall, you'll produce a better result because when you create a system, your mind, when you're going through that system, your mind is only focused on one thing. the system.
Mm-hmm.
All I was focused on today from 9 to 5, today took a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Today definitely took a little bit longer. It's all good though. All I was focused on today for that content creation block was content creation. That's it. Ryan didn't call me and I was in Huntington Beach halfway through a tall can with my homies riding BMX around going, fuck, okay, let me take my mind off what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
As I've gotten older, I've realized that, and we say this all the time in the podcast, you only have so much energy. You only have so much mental, spiritual, physical, emotional energy that you can give to certain things. So if all my energy is going towards hanging out with my friends at one point because Ryan and I didn't do our due diligence of systematizing the content creation, then when Ryan calls me, my mind and my emotions and my mental game is going to be focused on what I'm doing in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably going to result in me producing something shittier than if I would have been in the zone in that system. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. We use social media content creation as the example because that's all we did today, but it can be something, another example, we already mentioned it, like your morning routine.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a hard time getting up in the morning. It's my worst trait. I talked about it in the last podcast with Khalil. By the way, we already recorded this episode and I didn't hit start on the camera and my laptop died halfway through, which was my F up.
So it's the lost tapes.
Yeah, it's part of the lost tapes.
And we went in on some stuff.
Yeah,
too.
we did go in. we did go in. Gosh, I just started thinking about that. Yeah, but so the morning routine. So another example of systematizing something is the morning routine. I'm horrible at getting up in the morning. I hate getting up in the morning. When I have a system or a routine in the morning, I don't have to think. Part of the reason that you get stuck on things, part of the reason that you feel anxiety is because you're not taking action. We say this all the time. If you're listening to this podcast and you find yourself standing in a room, looking at your phone, looking out the window, looking at your computer, you got a million things running through, you feel that warmth or that coldness in your chest, that tightness, you feel anxiety, you feel that, it's because you're not taking action. It's because you're not taking action and you feel like you don't have a reason to take action. If you systematize something, your brain doesn't have to think. Your brain won't even go through the process of making you anxious because you know what to do. Mm-hmm. Take it from a dude who I still totally battle with anxiety and feeling all these different things. Mm-hmm. And I wake up in the morning, oh shit, I woke up late today. There's so many things going on. There's so much fucked up shit in the world going on. Look, do yourself. You owe it to yourself. Don't let all your fucking friends on social media and all these people who want to sit and be pussies and crybabies and shit tell you that you shouldn't focus on yourself. No, every single person in this world needs to have a healthy level of selfishness. If you don't take care of yourself, how can you go out and take care of someone else?
Yeah.
If you don't have enough money to sustain your own life and put food on your plate, how are you going to pay for your mom's plate? How are you going to pay for your dad's plate and your friends? How are you going to do that shit if you can't even do it for yourself? Yeah. You can't change the world if you don't even clean your own room. I believe Jordan Peterson said that. And it's so true. Okay, it's so true. Why would you not do yourself the favor of saying fuck you to everyone and serving yourself? Because when you serve yourself, you're giving yourself a platform and the resources to go serve others. Mm-hmm. But you won't be able to do that if you're first not taking care of yourself. And the first step to doing that is to building routines. It is to build routines, maximize your time, systematize things. You owe it to yourself. I'm telling you, don't let anyone give you that bullshit. You should be selfish. There is a healthy level of selfishness. Ryan and I were talking, or I think it was me and my dad we were talking, but it's like you'll see on social media, some people bash people for wanting to go out and get money. They call them greedy. You out of your fucking mind?
Yeah.
You think someone's greedy because they want to go make themselves financially stable when the world is just unbelievably expensive? College, the price for college is exorbitant. It's unfucking believable. And people have the nerve to go on social media and who probably don't even pay their own bills, whatever.
Yeah.
They have the nerve to go out there and talk smack to people who want to go out and serve themselves and allow themselves to live a life where they can sustain themselves. That's bullshit to me. That does not compute in my head.
Mm-hmm. All I know is that people who are winning in that sense, they don't ever say that.
Yeah.
Like, it's only the people who are like struggling.
Yeah.
And like can't figure it out and can't figure out how to get their own momentum going that say that, you know what I mean? So, another thing about the routines too is like literally every successful like person does routines. Yeah. You just have to. And it was hard for me to accept for a while because I hate routines. Well, naturally, I like them now, but naturally, on the come up earlier on. Like I just really hated routines. I always have to switch things up. I always have to have something new. I get bored very easily. That's kind of who I am, like naturally. But I had to develop that routine mindset for my everyday because I knew that somebody else was doing that and I wasn't. And I was losing out on time and losing out on my momentum and my focus because I wasn't able to do that. And it's just like I said, the routines just create a certainty for yourself that just, you're on path, and that just creates that confidence in you that you need to push through things. And it's like, I don't know. I think the routine and systematizing things is definitely like one of the biggest keys that I've realized, especially when Tim Grover said it in that book Relentless. He's like, these guys live in routines. You have to, because you're not going to know where you're going unless you have one. Now, where I got confused in the beginning was I kept hearing the term, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I would get confused originally because I would be like, okay, well, if that's the definition of that and I'm doing the same thing every day and I don't really feel myself growing that much and it's kind of a slow process, am I doing it wrong? Like, is this not right? But I realized that's not what it's like. The routines, it's kind of like, now I'm going to quote another book. It's called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And what he says is that doing a lot of things you do on a day-to-day basis consistently that you need to do for success, most of those things seem insignificant that day, and they may even seem insignificant for years or months or whatever it is. But those things add up to big results, and they just catch up with you. And it's like, he paints this picture of like, if you go in a straight line like this, let's say this is the winning path and the losing path based on your daily consistency. This is the path, and the change is so slight that you can't even see it for a while. And then all of a sudden, as you keep going and going, these paths become like opposites. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's the starting path is like, it seems insignificant. Like, oh, if I eat this donut today, it seems like, oh, it's not going to hurt me. But in the long run, if you do that consistently, that's when it catches up to you and it accelerates. So I think the routines are just like key in that sense, to where it's like you're choosing your path. Like, are you choosing to be consistent in that way or not?
Well, here's something that I've been pondering since we had a conversation a couple days ago about your power list, right? Mm-hmm. Let's ask the question: when do systems become a bad thing? Is there such a thing as where systematization, or let's just call it a routine, or systematizing things? Okay, mouthful, whatever.
I think what I'm learning is like, you need some kind of system at all times, but that system can change and evolve. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to be like so set in and like, oh, this is where I started doing and I have to do this like for the rest of my life. Yeah. Because I know it works. But it's like, well, you might get in different situations and different environments, and that system might not be as effective as this one. Mm-hmm. But I think you always need to have some kind of system in place. You can't just fly with the wind and expect good things to happen,
And I think you need to ask, is this worth systematizing? Yeah. Is what you're trying to produce results out of worth systematizing? Mm-hmm. Now, I think that having a system can be... I think your system can eventually reach a point of diminishing returns if it's involving a creative project. Yes. Okay? So when you need to get really creative with something, whether you're making music or art or whatever, if you tell yourself, and I know you're gonna touch on this because if you tell yourself, I'm gonna write music from 4 to 7 every day, whatever, that can stifle your creativity because the point of being creative is to create with no boundaries. That's when you truly allow yourself to be as creative as possible, because there's no limit on what you can make. So I think when it comes to a creative project like making music or something, let's say you're killing it at 6:59 and it turns 7. What are you going to do? Shut the laptop down and walk away? That's stupid. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to a creative project, you have to be continually flowing with chemicals and energy and good vibrations, and you have to let the creativity flow. So I would tell you, listeners, to, when you're trying to systematize something or create a routine and it involves something creative, don't inhibit your own creativity. And I've done that. You've done that. it's a little bit easier to systematize things like when I'm running a Facebook ad for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I'll check my results at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll adjust this, and that.
Yeah.
I'll check back in 3 days, whatever. But it's like if I'm writing a song or something, I'm not going to say, all right, immediately tomorrow at 8 a.m., whatever, I will catch this vibe and the hook will be done on this song. But here's the opposite end of it. So, right? So you can't create a system that inhibits your creativity when you're doing a creative project, but also that doesn't mean that you should just bullshit your creative projects and whenever they come is when they come.
That's the balance that I think, especially I'm trying to find now, because for me I was very like by the book, like this is a task. If I'm going to work on this song, it's a task and a chore for the day.
The music was.
Yes, everything.
Okay.
Dancing, singing, everything was a task for me, right? Now I've kind of learned to separate the tasks with the creative flow kind of shit. But again, like what you said, it's very easy to be like, oh, it's not coming today, like I'm gonna just try again tomorrow. I mean, like, or I'm busy today, I might just, work on my creative shit on Wednesday or whatever. It's very easy to put it off in that sense. And I think that originally the task orientation was giving me a slight advantage in certain cases, because I was producing more things and more results because I was disciplining myself to do it. Now, but there's like, I've realized as an artist, there's a zone you got to tap into where you can't be like as a task thinker. Like you need to like be in a playful zone where you're exploring and you just like almost like a I don't give a fuck attitude, and you're kind of just like flowing with shit and just playing really, especially with writing music. And so that's the tricky balance that I'm still trying to find, because I'm still learning like crazy. You know what I mean? Like I'm never ever done. But it's like, yeah, it's tough to separate, we'll say, the business and the artistry, which is cool too. Like as far as our team, I've realized like we've kind of solidified into our roles a little bit more, because at first we were definitely kind of doing both in a way. Like it was kind of mixed together. Like we were kind of both working on similar shit, but now it's like we've kind of defined like, okay, you stay in your artistic zone because we need you to produce like great creative shit, and then like you like focus on the ads and the analytical type shit, and I don't have to be a part of that. So it's interesting to see like that shift. But like I said, being an artist is it's tricky in that sense, to where you got to find that zone and stay in it for as long as you can, because your success depends on it.
And I think I spoke about this in a previous episode. You can't be so rigid. I think we had a whole episode about this. I don't know. Are we repeating an episode or something? But I remember saying something along the lines of, you can't be so rigid in your routine that it inhibits your humanness.
Yes.
Right? You're a human being, guys. And Ryan and I talk about this all the time, whether it's on the podcast or just amongst ourselves or with our friends and family or whatever it is. You're a human, and life happens.
Yes.
All we're trying to do as humans is take finite resources and maximize the output that we can create with those resources. That's all it is. You're trying to take a finite amount of time and push out a certain amount of creative projects. You're trying to take a certain amount of money, a finite amount of money, and create something big with that or get something out of that. That's all we're trying to do. Humans are continuously at fault for certain things, and you're always going to be experiencing things that are completely out of your control. Completely out of your control. So you can't be so rigid in your routines that you're not allowing yourself to be human. Because if Ryan beat the shit out of himself every single time he didn't have his song done in his 3-hour mark, he wouldn't be an artist. He would be some fucking crazy guy who doesn't understand the human aspect of creativity, right?
I think a great medium for that is having deadlines.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, here's my time block that I need to finish today, I feel like deadlines have always worked, because of like, what's that one law you always talk about, the Parkinsons
Law,
right? Where it's what was it again?
So Parkinson's Law states that whatever time frame you allot to a specific task, the task will take up the entirety of that time frame. If your teacher says, hey, you have a 10-page paper due exactly in 7 days, then you're going to spend that whole 7 days, most people will spend that whole 7 days writing it, maybe saving it till the last minute. But if your professor told you, hey, this 10-page paper is due in 48 hours, you would get it done in 48 hours. But it's just human nature to want to procrastinate and prolong the task.
See, and that's the tricky part with the artistry, with the creativity, because there's a fine balance between that. Because technically, you can get certain things done in time blocks. You can, but sometimes you're just not going to have that flow, that creative flow.
Yeah.
But I've seen myself not have a creative flow but discipline myself into finishing something, and it still came out dope. So it's like a weird like balance type shit to find. But who was it that I was thinking of? I think Ryan Tedder for One Republic. He's a big songwriter too. He was talking about like, he was like, you can't as a songwriter base your success in the amount of music that you're making based off of when you're feeling it. He's like, you got to create a system for yourself to where you're cranking out music and new songs, especially if you want to be a successful songwriter, because you can't get in the studio in a big session and the creative juices aren't there, but you weren't able to deliver. You got to be able to deliver even when you don't think you can. So there's ways to like systematize that. Like, oh, I know that if I can't think of this melody right now, I know that I can go work on this part of the song, get this dope, and then that will inspire the melody, once I hear it better. Like, there's little ways around it. Like, for me, for example, when I write songs and I get stuck on like the hook, let's say I can't think of the hook, I'm like, okay, what I'm going to do, instead of step away and not work on it, I'm going to get the verse and the pre-chorus sounding amazing. I'm going to get the harmonies. I'm going to get the vocal takes perfect, what I want. And usually when I do that, it gives my mind enough time to like step away from the hook and step back into it with a new mindset, and then hear like the part before it sound really good to where it like inspires the hook.
Yeah.
So it's like there's ways around being creatively blocked. Like I don't really believe in the term being blocked creatively. I don't know why. I feel like it's just kind of a weird like limit people put on their brains. But I think there's ways to beat that and to really just work around it,
When you said, find your system and stuff, I was thinking about this too. When you do find a system that works for you, whether it's the morning routine that makes you kick ass all day, whether it is the working around your creative block, whatever system you find that works for you for anything. Maybe it's cooking dinner. Maybe it's cooking great recipes for your family, whatever it is, okay? When you find that system, don't let anybody fuck it up. Okay. If you've got a great morning routine and you know that you need to perform one day, and waking up at 7, drinking 1 cup of coffee, reading 10 pages of a book, and drinking 20 ounces of water, whatever it is, that's like mine. That's like mine, whatever. But once you find your routine, if your friends are like, hey man, F that shit, bro. Let's stay out tonight, do whatever. Fuck them, dude.
Well, but here's what I realized too. Like, if you're very consistent at your routine, the other people around you will pick up on it, and they'll actually like leave you alone with it because they know. At least like in my case, like I've realized, like my family will like they see the hustle, and they see like the routines that I have every day, that they kind of base what they need around for me, like around that in a way.
That's dope.
So like they can sense like, oh, he's on to something. Like, I don't want to mess that up, type shit. So I feel like you radiate that the more like consistent you are with it.
Yeah, but your family's different, right? Like, I'm talking about if you're just hanging out with like people or your friends or whatever. Like, there's always going to be some people who don't respect your routine, and that's something that I've had to like teach myself to do. Like, if I definitely used to be that guy who'd be like, bro, just kick it for like another couple hours, whatever. Now I'm like, if one of my friends says, hey, bro, I got to get up at like 5 tomorrow because I got this thing to do, I'm like, yo, you got your thing to do? All good. I'm out. And I think that's how it should be, dude. Like, people should respect each other's routines and stuff, because like, if you can respect someone's routine, and that simple gesture of respect is going to make them perform better in life, like, why would you not do that?
Yeah.
Why would you not do that, And like, I have to have a good start to my day to make my day killer. Because like I said, I'm horrible at waking up in the morning. I sleep like crap every night. My body continuously aches and hurts from years of eating shit on my bike at the skate park.
Yeah.
Like I sleep horribly every night. So like waking up in the morning is like really important to me. Like it's a thing. Like if it gets screwed up, I get pissed. So it's like
Yeah.
You just got to respect people's routines, knowing that by respecting that routine, you're helping them perform better and maybe be a happier person.
And I think there's a big value in solitude, like just being by yourself and being alone for the majority of your time. Like I feel like there's a lot of people who, because I used to do this too, like back in the day, like you would just rely on hanging out with people. Like, oh, like this person can't kick it anymore. I'm gonna see what this person's doing like the next 2 hours, and then the next person the next 2 hours. Like you rely on like being with people and being around people, but it's like I think there's a value to being alone because that's when you can really be in your routine. It's very like I've noticed even with people who are about it, like it's a little bit harder to get shit done when you're with people or like I would even say like for us, I definitely get way more done by myself.
Totally.
I think that like we're also best friends too, so we joke and we have fun and like we do anybody on the team, like I think we definitely get a lot done. I'm not saying we don't, but there's a value to being by yourself because all you got is you. So you're like, I'm gonna use my time to work on this shit. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of a tangent, but it just reminded me of that.
Yeah. No, it's and so when you create a system that involves other people, then they got to be on it and you got to be on it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like today we kicked it with Khalil, right? And we were saying like, yo, Saturdays we're all linking up and Khalil was like, I'm down.
Yeah.
And I feel like today, like me, you and Khalil, like while I was working on the YouTube video, he was helping you vocalize these new melodies, like on top of the beat he just produced and stuff. And like there was total synergy. It was amazing. And the fact that we set up a system, hey, Saturdays from X time to X time, we're going to focus on these particular subjects. So we said it was going to be creation. Like we basically look at Saturdays as like totally creative, right?
And this just started, but we're like,
this literally just started, but we're going in on it. And so the fact that we set up that, and it's a simple system, meet up on Saturdays, right? That from this time to this time, that's the system. It's very simple. But the fact that we set that up and everybody was, on the same page and understood that the topic of Saturday's meetup is to be creative, create social media content, film new things, maybe even make new songs, whatever it is. It's just a creative day. But work, yes. Because we all knew that, we were all in the same headspace, and that synergy was able to flow, and we were able to vibe off each other. So that's an important part of of having a system with others. You all got to be on the same page with that shit and know what you're trying to produce.
And it's just like, it's easy to mix creative, like being in a creative zone and just chilling and being lazy. It's very easy,
100%.
very easy to do that, especially when you're with a group of people. I've noticed like, this is why like for me personally, I enjoy making music by myself because I know I'm going to get shit done. But I realize like sometimes when I get like in a studio session with somebody or with a group of people or something, it's very easy, unless everyone's on the level of like, let's get it. It's very easy just to kick back and be like, yeah, let's pass around a blunt real quick, just chill and shit. And then like I've realized like no one's getting shit done. It's like maybe a little piece of this song, maybe a little piece of this song, or just vibing. We're listening to music we all have or whatever, and it's just like, damn, but we didn't really get like anything done. If I was by myself, I would have got probably a whole song done. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. It's like I said, it's very easy to mix creativity and like just chilling to being lazy and vibing. So definitely implement the work part of it.
Yeah. And if your system is if you're trying to create a system with certain people and it's just not working, we've said it a million times, don't make a system with them. Don't try to build a routine with those types of people. Or the alternative is just be completely transparent. Like, but I get that. No one wants to be the guy who gets past the blunt, you turn it down and you stand up and go, yo, we've been in here for fucking 2 hours. Why have we not laid down any tracks? Like no one wants to be that guy. So I guess I would just say, if you're not in the position to be able to talk to people like that and say that, and you don't want to be that guy, just don't put yourself in a room with people like that in the first place. But the one thing I want to say about all of this, guys, and I've said it before, is that you're human. things happen. Enjoy realizing the faults of your system and enjoy the process of continually improving your system. No system is perfect. Ryan and I aren't going to meet up Saturdays for the rest of our lives. Sorry to break it to you. I'm sure there are things that are going to change about that.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
I'm
just
sure
a new system we're trying to. Yeah.
Exactly. So you just really got to be open to that. Yeah, man, that's really all I got to say, bro.
And just on top of that, you know, to finish it off, like, yes, you're going to be human. I'm realizing this more and more. Like, you gotta just let yourself relax for a minute sometimes, but just be honest with yourself. Are you operating at the level that you need to be? Like, overall, you know,
to be successful in the dream that you have or whatever vision you have,
in the standards that are set for what you are trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So, which is a tricky balance, but life is a balance. So.
It definitely is. Hey, everybody. Ryan has been, he has had a consistent or hovering around 5,000 monthly listeners on Spotify without running any advertising or anything. He's had a relatively steady / kind of upward trend in his engagement on Instagram. He's got some diehard fans from like, where was that?
India.
Where was that one guy at? In that, there was a place, the name of it was just like
Indonesia?
bizarre to us. No. It was like a very, very small country or something.
Oman?
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Yeah. So we never really give tons of updates on the music and stuff, but Ryan is slowly growing. It's awesome. He has over 30 songs or near 30 songs or something like that are unreleased.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many amazing strategies, paid and unpaid, social media, real world stuff, everything. And I'm very, very excited. I think we're gonna this year we're definitely, you know, we have a big focus on monetizing things and being able to make this a sustainable career, which maybe sustainability in what you're trying to do could be a topic on another podcast or another episode. But yeah, man, things are going really good. You know, always reach out to us at Ryan Ramirez Official, at JACXB More, MOORE. That's us on Instagram. And share this with a friend if you got some value out of it, guys. Peace out.
What's in your mind for you and for I'm trying to decide from the look in your eyes, yeah. I mean besides, but your feelings inside you, I'm messing up my mind.